Welcome to our channel. Today, we're diving into the chilling story of Ravenhurst Asylum. Join us as we follow three urban explorers who decide to investigate the long-abandoned asylum. What starts off as a thrilling adventure quickly turns into a nightmare when they discover that the asylum's history is far from dead. The explorers stumble upon evidence of Dr. Eleanor Blackwood's horrific experiments, where she attempted to cure insanity through brutal and inhumane methods. As they navigate the asylum's dark and twisted corridors, they are haunted by the spirits of former patients and the malevolent presence of Dr. Blackwood herself. Our explorers must confront their own fears and piece together the asylum's grim past before they too fall victim to the madness that still lingers within its walls. The true horror of Ravenhurst isn't just its history, but its power to erode their sanity with every step they take. Stay tuned as we unravel the terrifying secrets of Ravenhurst Asylum. The air was thick with an oppressive silence as Mia, Derek, and Olivia stepped into the hidden laboratory. The musty scent of decay mingled with the acrid tang of chemicals, assaulting their senses and heightening the sense of unease that had been building with each passing moment. Mia's gaze swept across the cluttered rows of rusted equipment and crumbling shelves, her brow furrowing as she processed the implications of what they had uncovered. "This is where Dr. Blackwood conducted her experiments," she murmured, her voice strained. Derek's fingers tightened around the camera strap, his knuckles white with tension. "I don't know if I want to see what kinds of things happened in here," he said, his usual bravado replaced by a hint of trepidation. Olivia, however, was undeterred, her eyes alight with a dangerous curiosity as she moved deeper into the laboratory. "We have to know," she insisted, her fingers tracing the faded labels on the abandoned vials and jars. "Everything we've found so far has led us here. We need to uncover the truth, no matter how disturbing it may be." Mia hesitated, her gaze darting between her two companions. She understood Olivia's drive to uncover the asylum's secrets, but the growing sense of dread that had been gnawing at her since their arrival made her wary of venturing further into the unknown. "Olivia's right," Derek conceded, though his voice wavered. "As much as I don't want to, we have to see this through. We came here to find the truth, and we can't back down now." Steeling herself, Mia took a deep breath and joined the others, her eyes scanning the room with a clinical detachment honed by her psychology training. "All right, let's see what we can find." The trio split up, each scouring the laboratory for any clues that might shed light on the nature of Dr. Blackwood's experiments. Mia meticulously examined the tattered patient files, her brow furrowing as she pieced together the horrific details. "These records. They're worse than I imagined," she murmured, her voice barely above a whisper. "Blackwood was obsessed with finding a cure for insanity, no matter the cost." She shuddered, her fingers trembling as she read on. Derek, meanwhile, had turned his attention to the array of medical equipment, his gaze drawn to the unsettling array of syringes, scalpels, and other tools that had undoubtedly been used in Blackwood's unethical procedures. "Jesus, this is straight out of a nightmare," he muttered, his stomach churning with revulsion. Olivia, undeterred by the disturbing atmosphere, had gravitated toward a set of locked filing cabinets, her fingers working deftly to pick the rusted locks. "There has to be more information here," she murmured, her brow furrowed in concentration. "Something that will give us the answers we're looking for." As the minutes ticked by, the tension in the room grew thicker, the weight of the asylum's dark history pressing down upon them. Mia found herself growing increasingly uneasy, her senses heightened as if she were being watched. "Guys, I think we should get out of here," she said, her voice sharp with an edge of panic. "I have a really bad feeling about this place." Derek nodded in agreement, his expression grim. "Yeah, the longer we stay, the more I feel like we're being, I don't know, observed or something." He shuddered, his gaze darting around the laboratory as if expecting to see a lurking presence. Olivia, however, remained undeterred, her focus unwavering as she continued to rummage through the files. "Just a few more minutes," she muttered, her fingers moving with a frantic energy. "I know there's something here that will help us understand what happened." Mia opened her mouth to protest, but before she could speak, A sudden crash echoed through the laboratory, causing them all to jump. Derek's camera, which had been perched precariously on a nearby table, had toppled to the ground, the lens shattered. "What the hell?" Derek exclaimed, rushing to examine the damage. "I didn't even touch it!" Olivia's head snapped up, her eyes wide with alarm. "Something's not right," she breathed, her gaze darting around the room. "We need to get out of here, now." Mia's heart raced, the adrenaline coursing through her veins as a growing sense of panic began to set in. "Olivia's right," she said, her voice steadier than she felt. "Let's go before." Before she could finish her sentence, the door to the laboratory slammed shut, the sound reverberating through the cramped space. Mia felt her breath catch in her throat as she rushed to the door, desperately trying the handle. "Locked," she announced, her voice tinged with a hint of hysteria. "We're trapped." Derek's face paled, his eyes wild with fear. "This can't be happening," he murmured, his hands trembling as he gripped the camera, the broken lens glinting in the dim light. Olivia, however, remained focused, her gaze darting around the room as she searched for an alternative exit. "There has to be another way out," she insisted, her voice tense with determination. "We can't be stuck here. Not after everything we've uncovered." Mia felt her heart pounding in her chest as she joined Olivia in the search, her senses heightened and her mind racing. The asylum's influence seemed to be closing in, the air thick with a palpable sense of dread. As they moved, Mia couldn't help but feel as if they were being watched, a nagging sensation that something unseen was observing their every move. The hairs on the back of her neck stood on end, and she found herself glancing over her shoulder, half expecting to see a looming presence lurking in the shadows. "We need to get out of here," she said, her voice trembling. "I don't know how much longer I can." Suddenly, a disembodied voice echoed through the laboratory, its tone tinged with a chilling amusement. "Welcome, my dear explorers," the voice purred, reverberating through the room. "I've been waiting for you." Mia felt her blood run cold, her heart pounding in her ears as she recognized the voice. It was Blackwood, her preserved consciousness taunting them from beyond the grave. The explorers froze, their bodies tensing as they realized the true nature of their predicament. They were not simply trapped in the asylum, they were at the mercy of a malevolent force that had been manipulating them all along. As the implications of their situation sank in, Mia, Derek, and Olivia knew that they were no longer simply searching for the truth. They were fighting for their very sanity, their grip on reality slipping with each passing moment. The flickering overhead lights cast an eerie glow as Mia, Derek, and Olivia ventured deeper into the abandoned Ravenhurst Asylum. Their footsteps echoed through the decaying halls, the air thick with the scent of dust and neglect. Olivia stopped in front of an ornate wooden door, her fingers tracing the intricate carvings. "This must have been an important part of the facility," she murmured, her brow furrowed in concentration. Derek swept his camera around, capturing the crumbling walls and the unsettling atmosphere. "If these walls could talk, I'd bet they'd have some stories to tell," he said, a hint of excitement in his voice. Mia ran her hand along the peeling paint, her gaze fixed on the faded nameplate on the door. "Dr. Eleanor Blackwood, head psychiatrist," she read aloud, a chill running down her spine. Olivia's eyes widened. "Blackwood? That name keeps coming up in the patient files we found." She turned the handle, relieved to find the door unlocked. "We need to see what's inside." The trio stepped into the office, their senses assaulted by the musty scent and the eerie silence. Bookshelves lined the walls, their once pristine volumes now weathered and discolored. A large, ornate desk sat at the center of the room, its surface covered in a thick layer of dust. Mia ran her fingers along the desk, her mind racing. "Blackwood must have spent a lot of time in here, orchestrating her treatments," she said, the word treatments dripping with disdain. Derek began rummaging through the drawers, his brow furrowed in concentration. "There has to be something here that can shed light on what really happened in this place," he muttered, his fingers sifting through the clutter. Olivia, meanwhile, had gravitated towards the bookshelves, her eyes scanning the spines of the volumes. A lot of these focus on experimental psychiatric techniques, she said, her voice tinged with a mixture of fascination and unease. Methods that were considered cutting edge at the time, but now seem barbaric. Mia joined Olivia, her gaze drawn to a weathered leather-bound journal tucked away on the top shelf. Carefully, she pulled it free, the pages crackling as she opened it. This must be Blackwood's personal journal, she breathed, her fingers tracing the faded ink. Derek paused his search, turning his attention to Mia. Can you make out anything in there? Anything that might give us a clue about what really happened here? Mia flipped through the pages, her brow furrowed in concentration. It's difficult to read, but it seems Blackwood was obsessed with curing insanity, no matter the cost. She paused, her expression darkening. She describes experimental procedures, invasive treatments, things that seem utterly inhumane. Olivia leaned in, her eyes scanning the journal's contents. Good Lord, she was a madwoman, wasn't she? Trying to fix the patients by breaking them down completely. She shook her head in disgust. No wonder this place has such a dark reputation. Derek's camera whirred to life as he captured the journal's pages, his gaze intense. This is big. If we can piece together Blackwood's twisted methods, maybe we can uncover the real story behind Ravenhurst's downfall. Mia felt a shiver run down her spine as she continued reading, her grip on the journal tightening. She mentioned something about a final experiment. Something that was supposed to be the ultimate cure for insanity. The words seemed to hang in the air, the implications weighing heavily on the trio. Olivia reached out, her fingers tracing the faded ink. We have to find out more. There has to be a way to access the lower levels, where Blackwood conducted her most secretive work. Her eyes burned with determination, her thirst for knowledge overriding any sense of caution. Derek nodded, his gaze shifting towards the door. Then let's keep moving. The deeper we go, the closer we'll get to the heart of this place's dark history. He took a deep breath, squaring his shoulders as he prepared to lead the way. Mia hesitated for a moment, her eyes lingering on the journal's pages. Blackwood's words seemed to echo in her mind, a haunting melody that promised to unravel the very fabric of reality. With a steadying breath, she closed the journal and tucked it into her backpack, following her companions into the unknown. The trio pressed on, their footsteps quickening as they navigated the asylum's maze-like corridors. Olivia's eyes darted from one doorway to the next, searching for any sign of a hidden passage or entrance to the lower levels. Derek's camera remained steadily trained on their surroundings, capturing every detail with unwavering focus. Mia, however, found her attention drawn to the faint whispers that seemed to caress the edges of her consciousness. She paused, her brow furrowing as she strained to make out the words. Mia? You all right? Derek's voice seemed to cut through the haze, pulling her back to the present. Mia shook her head, offering a reassuring smile. Yeah, I'm fine. Just thought I heard something, that's all. Olivia turned, her expression darkening. We're not alone here, are we? She glanced around, her fingers tightening around the flashlight she carried. Derek swallowed hard, his grip on the camera tightening. Well, then let's keep moving. The sooner we find what we're looking for, the sooner we can get the hell out of here. The trio pressed on, the unnerving silence punctuated only by the sound of their own footsteps and the occasional creak of the aging building. Mia couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched, the hairs on the back of her neck standing on end. As they rounded a corner, Olivia let out a triumphant cry. There. I found it. She pointed to a nondescript door, its surface weathered and the hinges rusted. This has to lead to the lower levels. Derek nodded, his gaze narrowing as he trained the camera on the door. After you, then. He gestured for Olivia to take the lead, his own nerves evident in the slight tremor of his hands. One by one, the explorers passed through the doorway, descending into the shadowy depths of Ravenhurst Asylum. The air grew colder, the walls closing in as they navigated the winding staircase. Mia felt a sense of foreboding build within her, the whispers in her mind growing louder with each step. As they reached the bottom, Olivia paused, her eyes wide with a mixture of fascination and horror. Good Lord, this is where it all happened, isn't it? She breathed, her fingers tracing the faded signage on the wall. Mia and Derek followed her gaze, their expressions mirroring her own. The air was thick with the weight of the past, and the explorers couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched, not just by the cameras, but by the very walls that surrounded them. The chapter ends with the trio standing at the threshold of the asylum's dark heart, their curiosity and determination fueled by the echoes of the past, even as the threat of the unknown loomed ever closer. The heavy wooden door groaned open, revealing a dimly lit stairwell that descended deep into the bowels of the asylum. Mia, Derek, and Olivia peered down into the shadowy depths, the air thick with the scent of decay and mold. "This is it," Olivia said, her voice hushed but determined. "Dr. Blackwood's private laboratory. If there are any answers to be found, they'll be down there." She gripped the flashlight tighter, her knuckles turning white. Mia glanced at Derek, who stood with his camera at the ready, his lips pressed into a thin line. "Are you sure you're ready for this?" she asked, placing a hand on his arm. "We have no idea what we're going to find." Derek nodded, his eyes steely. "I have to be. This is my shot, Mia. I can't back down now." He brushed past her, taking the first steps down the staircase. Mia sighed and followed, Olivia bringing up the rear. The descent seemed to go on forever, the air growing colder and more oppressive with each step. Shadows danced along the walls, cast by the flickering beams of their flashlights. Finally, they reached the bottom and emerged into a large, open space. Rusted gurneys and abandoned medical equipment lined the walls, cobwebs clinging to every surface. Mia couldn't help but shiver, a sense of unease settling deep within her. "Look at this place," Olivia murmured, her eyes scanning the room. "It's like something out of a nightmare." Derek had already begun recording, his camera sweeping over the eerie scene. "This is gold," he muttered, a hint of excitement in his voice. "The footage from this place is going to make my career." Mia frowned, placing a hand on his arm. "Derek, I know you're eager, but please be careful. We don't know what kind of dangers we might be facing down here." Before he could respond, a loud crash echoed through the room, making them all jump. Mia whirled around, her heart racing, as a tattered curtain fluttered to the ground, revealing a hidden doorway. "What was that?" Olivia whispered, her voice trembling. "I don't know," Mia replied, her eyes narrowed as she stepped closer to the doorway. "But I think we're about to find out." Steeling her nerves, Mia led the way through the doorway, her friends close behind. The corridor beyond was even more oppressive, the air thick with the scent of formaldehyde and decay. Crumbling medical charts and patient files littered the floor, and Mia couldn't help but shudder at the thought of what had transpired in this place. As they ventured deeper, the walls began to close in, the corridors twisting and turning in a dizzying maze. Mia felt her heart pounding in her chest, the weight of the asylum's history bearing down on her. She could sense the same unease in her companions, their faces tight with tension. Suddenly, a faint whispering reached their ears, the words indistinct but chilling. Mia froze, straining to listen, but the sound seemed to come from all directions at once. "Did you hear that?" Olivia breathed, her eyes wide with fear. Derek stepped closer to Mia, his camera held tightly in his hands. "Yeah, I heard it." "What the hell is that?" Mia shook her head, her mind racing. "I don't know, but I have a feeling we're about to find out." They continued on, the whispering growing louder and more insistent, until they reached a set of heavy double doors. Mia paused, her hand grasping the rusted handle. "This must be it," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "Dr. Blackwood's laboratory." With a deep breath, she pushed the doors open, the hinges creaking in protest. The room beyond was in a state of complete disarray, medical equipment scattered and overturned, glass and debris crunching underfoot. Mia felt a chill run down her spine as she took in the scene, the weight of the asylum's dark history pressing down on her. Olivia stepped forward, her face alight with a mixture of fear and fascination. "Look at this place," she murmured, her fingers tracing the edge of a shattered beaker. "It's like time has stood still." Derek moved to the center of the room, his camera capturing every detail. "This is insane," he breathed, his eyes wide. Just imagine the kind of things that went on in here. Mia felt a tightness in her chest, a growing sense of unease as she surveyed the room. We need to be careful, she warned, her voice low. We have no idea what kind of dangers we might be facing. As if on cue, a faint scratching sound reached their ears, causing them all to freeze. Mia felt the hair on the back of her neck stand on end, her senses heightened as she strained to pinpoint the source of the noise. Olivia's face had gone pale, her gaze darting around the room. Did you hear that? She whispered, her voice trembling. Derek moved closer to Mia, his camera still rolling. Yeah, I heard it. What the hell is it? Mia's mind raced, her training as a psychology student kicking in. I don't know, she admitted, her voice tight. But I think we're about to find out. Slowly, she began to move forward, her friends following close behind. The scratching grew louder, a faint scrabbling that seemed to echo from the shadows. Mia felt a sense of dread building within her, the weight of the asylum's history pressing down on her with every step. As they rounded a corner, Mia froze, her breath catching in her throat. Crouched in the corner, its eyes glowing in the dim light, was a figure unlike anything she had ever seen. Its features were distorted, its movements jerky and unnatural, and Mia felt a chill of pure terror run down her spine. What the hell is that? Derek whispered, his camera trained on the creature. Mia's mind raced, her training failing her as she stared into the eyes of the twisted, inhuman being. I don't know, she stammered, her voice barely audible. Olivia gripped her arm, her nails digging into Mia's skin. We need to get out of here, she hissed, her eyes wild with fear. But Mia couldn't move, her gaze locked on the creature as it slowly rose from the shadows, its movements jerky and unnatural. She felt a sense of dread wash over her, the weight of the asylum's dark history pressing down on her soul. The creature let out a low, guttural moan, and Mia knew in that moment that they had stumbled upon the darkest secrets of Ravenhurst Asylum. And there was no going back. The air felt thick and oppressive as Mia, Derek, and Olivia descended deeper into the asylum's shadowy lower levels. The further they ventured, the more the walls seemed to close in around them, the sense of unease growing with each step. Olivia's pace quickened as she led the way, her eyes scanning the crumbling corridors for any clues that might unlock the asylum's dark secrets. The laboratory has to be down here somewhere. If we can just find it, we might finally uncover the truth about what happened to the patients. Mia couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched, the hairs on the back of her neck standing on end. Olivia, maybe we should slow down a bit. I don't have a good feeling about this place. Derek, his camera ever present, filmed their descent. Come on, Mia. Don't tell me you're getting spooked already. We're this close to the big reveal. His voice held a nervous edge, betraying his own growing discomfort. As they turned a corner, the trio found themselves facing a heavy metal door, its surface scarred and rusted. Olivia wasted no time in trying the handle, a triumphant grin spreading across her face as it creaked open. This has to be it, she breathed, stepping through the threshold. Mia and Derek exchanged a tense glance before following her into the unknown. The laboratory was a stark contrast to the asylum's crumbling exterior, sterile and clinical, with rows of metal tables and shelves lined with jars and medical equipment. Olivia immediately began rummaging through the drawers and cabinets, her fingers trembling with anticipation. Mia moved cautiously, her gaze sweeping the room. Something just felt off. Guys, I really think we should get out of here. I have a bad feeling about all of this. Derek, however, had already begun setting up his camera, his focus solely on capturing the perfect shot. Relax, Mia. This is the kind of footage that could make my career. Just let me do my thing, okay? Olivia emerged from a back room, her eyes shining with excitement. You two have to see this. I found Dr. Blackwood's personal journal. She held the aged leather-bound book reverently, as if it contained the answers to all their questions. Mia's protest died on her lips as Olivia began to read aloud, the words echoing ominously in the sterile atmosphere. The experiments have been a resounding success. I have discovered the key to unlocking the mysteries of the human mind. By subjecting the patients to targeted psychological manipulation, I can push the boundaries of their sanity, forcing them to confront the darkest corners of their psyche. Derek's brow furrowed, the jovial expression he had worn earlier replaced by a growing unease. Manipulation? Pushing the boundaries of sanity? That doesn't sound good. Olivia continued, her voice tinged with a morbid fascination. The subjects have proved resilient, far more than I anticipated. But I will not be deterred. My work is too important, the potential benefits to psychiatric science too great to abandon now. Mia felt her stomach twist in knots. Olivia, please. I really think we need to get out of here. This is sounding worse by the minute. But Olivia was undeterred, flipping through the pages with a fervor that bordered on obsession. There has to be more. We need to know what happened to those patients. Their stories can't be lost to time. Derek's camera continued to whir, capturing the unfolding scene. Maybe we should listen to Mia. This is starting to feel, I don't know, dangerous. Olivia shot him a withering look. Dangerous? This is our chance to uncover the truth. Don't you understand? She turned her attention back to the journal, her expression darkening with each passing line. Mia watched helplessly as her friends descended further into the asylum's unsettling secrets, her own sense of unease growing with every passing moment. The air seemed to grow thicker, the shadows deeper, as if the very walls were closing in around them. Suddenly, a loud crash echoed from the adjacent room, followed by the sound of shattering glass. Mia spun around, her heart pounding. What was that? Derek jumped, the camera nearly slipping from his hands. I don't know. Maybe it was just... But the rest of his sentence was cut off by a bone-chilling wail, a sound that seemed to reverberate through the very marrow of their bones. Mia felt a chill run down her spine, and for the first time, she saw true fear reflected in Derek's eyes. Olivia, however, remained transfixed by the journal, her fingers tracing the words as if they held the key to unlocking some profound mystery. She was so close to breaking through the barriers of the mind. If we can just understand what she did, we might. Olivia! Mia grabbed her friend's arm, her grip tight. We need to get out of here now. Something is very wrong. The wail sounded again, closer this time, and Mia could swear she heard the faint echo of laughter. Her grip on Olivia tightened, her nails digging into her skin. Derek's voice was barely above a trembling whisper. Guys, I really think we should listen to Mia. We need to get out of here before... The words died on his lips as a sudden movement in the shadows caught their eye. Mia felt her breath catch in her throat as a distorted, humanoid figure emerged, its features obscured by the gloom. What is that? Derek's camera began to shake, his knuckles white from gripping it so tightly. Olivia stared transfixed, the journal slipping from her hands. It can't be. The patients, they're still here? The figure let out another eerie cackle, and Mia felt her grip on reality begin to slip. The asylum's influence was seeping into her mind, blurring the line between what was real and what was merely a figment of her imagination. As the figure drew closer, Mia realized with a sinking dread that this was no mere hallucination. The asylum's dark secrets were about to be laid bare, and they might not be able to escape the consequences. The air within the hidden laboratory hummed with a palpable energy, a static charge that set the explorers' nerves on edge. Mia, Derek, and Olivia stood transfixed, their eyes fixed upon the sprawling array of medical equipment, journals, and strange contraptions that filled the dimly lit space. This is it, Olivia breathed, her voice barely above a whisper. This is where Dr. Blackwood conducted her experiments. She ran her fingers reverently along the edge of a rusted file cabinet, as if the very touch could conjure the ghosts of the asylum's past. Derek's face was taut with a mixture of fascination and unease. I can't believe we're actually standing in the epicenter of all this madness. He shook his head, the beam of his camera sweeping across the laboratory. Just think of the footage I could capture here. Mia felt a chill run down her spine, and she had to resist the urge to wrap her arms protectively around herself. "We need to be careful," she cautioned, her gaze scanning the room. "This place. It feels alive, somehow. Like the very walls are watching us." As if in response to her words, a sudden flicker of movement caught her eye. Mia's head snapped in the direction of the far corner, where a shadowy figure seemed to coalesce out of the darkness. A chill gripped her heart as the silhouette began to take shape, features resolving into the familiar visage of Dr. Eleanor Blackwood. "Welcome, my dear explorers," the disembodied voice purred, seeming to emanate from all around them. "I've been expecting you." Mia instinctively stepped in front of her companions, shielding them with her own body. "Blackwood," she acknowledged, her voice surprisingly steady. "So you're the one behind all of this." A dry, rasping chuckle filled the air. "Behind it all? My dear, I am the very foundation upon which this asylum was built." The shadowy form drifted forward, the piercing gaze of Blackwood's eyes boring into Mia's. "I am the architect of its glory and its downfall." Olivia stepped forward, her expression a mixture of fascination and revulsion. "Your experiments. The things you did to those patients. How could you?" Her words were laced with a desperate need to understand the unfathomable. Blackwood's lips curled into a twisted smile. "How? Because I believed I could save them, child. I believed I could cure the very essence of madness." She extended a bony hand, as if offering to share her grand vision. "But the patients, they never truly left. Their minds, their very souls, remained trapped within these walls." Derek's face had gone pale, his grip on the camera trembling. "You're saying the patients are still here? But that's impossible. Is it?" Blackwood's form seemed to flicker and warp, growing more ethereal with each passing moment. "I have transcended the limitations of the physical world, binding my consciousness to this place. And soon you will join me." Mia felt a cold dread settle in the pit of her stomach. "No," she said firmly, her eyes narrowing. "We're getting out of here, all of us. Your twisted experiments end today." Blackwood's laughter echoed through the laboratory, sending chills down the explorers' spines. "Oh, my dear, you have no idea the depths of my power. This asylum is my kingdom, and you are but trespassing insects, soon to be crushed beneath the weight of my legacy." The air around them began to crackle with an unseen energy, and the explorers found themselves bracing against an unseen force. Mia gritted her teeth, her mind racing as she tried to formulate a plan. Blackwood's consciousness was linked to the very fabric of the asylum. They would need to find a way to sever that connection if they had any hope of escaping. Olivia's face was a mask of grim determination. "Then we'll just have to find a way to break your hold on this place." She turned to Mia and Derek, her eyes burning with resolve. "We can't let Blackwood win. We have to find a way to free the trapped souls and stop her, no matter the cost." Derek swallowed hard, his grip tightening on the camera. I'm with you. Whatever it takes." He cast a wary glance at the shifting shadows, his voice trembling. "But how the hell are we supposed to fight against something like that?" Mia met their gazes, her expression grim but resolute. "We use what we know. Psychology, history, and a whole lot of determination." She turned to face Blackwood's incorporeal form, her jaw set with unwavering purpose. "This ends here, Blackwood. Your reign of terror is over." The asylum seemed to groan and shudder around them, as if the very structure itself was reacting to Mia's defiant proclamation. Blackwood's laughter echoed, sending shivers down their spines. "You foolish children," the disembodied voice hissed. "You have no idea the forces you are up against. This asylum is my domain, and you are mere pawns in my grand design." The explorers braced themselves as the laboratory began to shift and distort, the walls seemingly melting and reforming around them. Mia felt her heart racing, but she refused to let the fear consume her. She had to stay focused, to draw on every ounce of her psychological training to outwit this twisted adversary. "We may be pawns," Mia called out, her voice steady and unwavering. "But we're not helpless. We know your secrets, Blackwood, and we'll use them against you." The shifting shadows paused, as if Blackwood was weighing Mia's words. Do you now? The voice was laced with a dangerous curiosity. Then by all means, my dear, enlighten me. Show me the depth of your understanding. Mia took a deep breath, steeling herself for the battle to come. Your experiments were about control, Blackwood. Controlling the minds of your patients, shaping their realities to fit your twisted vision. She gestured around the laboratory, her gaze unwavering. But the mind is a fragile thing, and the more you try to control it, the more it slips through your grasp. Blackwood's form seemed to waver, and Mia pressed on, her voice gaining strength. You thought you could bind their souls to this place, to make them your eternal subjects. But in the end, all you've done is trap yourself here, haven't you? Your own obsession has become your prison. The shadows around them churned and writhed, as if Blackwood was struggling to maintain her grip on the asylum's reality. Insolent girl. The voice hissed. You know nothing of the power I wield. Mia felt a surge of determination. I know enough to see the cracks in your control. This place, this kingdom of yours, it's unraveling. And we're going to be the ones to tear it down. The explorers braced themselves as the asylum's very foundations began to tremble, the walls groaning and cracking around them. Blackwood's enraged cries echoed through the chamber, mingling with the unsettling sounds of the collapsing structure. Mia turned to her companions, her expression grave but unwavering. Get ready. This is going to get ugly. The asylum's corridors twisted and warped around them, the walls seemingly alive and intent on trapping the explorers in its labyrinth. Mia, Derek, and Olivia stumbled through the disorienting maze, their senses assaulted by the overwhelming presence of Dr. Blackwood's fractured consciousness. We have to find a way out of here. Olivia cried, her voice laced with desperation. This place is destroying us from the inside. Mia gripped Olivia's arm, her own nerves fraying as the asylum's influence clawed at her mind. Stick together. That's the only way we're going to make it through this. Derek lagged behind, his camera clutched in trembling hands. I don't know how much longer I can keep going. The asylum, it's tearing me apart. A bone-chilling laugh echoed through the halls, Blackwood's voice dripping with malice. You fools! You think you can escape the truth that lies within these walls? Your minds are as fragile as the patients I once tended to. Mia's heart pounded in her chest as she scanned their surroundings, searching for any sign of an exit. The asylum seemed to shift and change with every step, the once grand architecture crumbling and warping into a nightmarish landscape. We have to find a way to stop her, Mia said, her brow furrowed in concentration. Blackwood's consciousness is the key to all of this. If we can break her hold, maybe we can find a way out. Olivia nodded, her eyes narrowed with determination. Then that's what we'll do. I've come too far to let this place win. The trio pressed on, navigating the asylum's twisting corridors as Blackwood's taunting laughter echoed around them. Mia's mind raced, her psychological training struggling to maintain its grip on reality, as the asylum assaulted her senses. Suddenly, a faint glimmer of hope emerged in the distance, a dimly lit stairwell leading down deeper into the asylum's depths. Mia gestured to the others, and they hurried towards the exit, desperate to escape Blackwood's cruel grasp. As they descended the stairs, the oppressive atmosphere grew even more palpable, the air thick with a sense of dread. Olivia shuddered, her fingers trembling as she clutched the railing. This is it, isn't it? The heart of the asylum, where Blackwood's twisted experiments took place. Derek's eyes were wide with fear, his voice barely above a whisper. Then that's where we'll find her. The source of all this madness. Mia took a deep breath, steeling her nerves. Then that's where we're going. We're not leaving this place until we've put an end to Blackwood's legacy once and for all. The trio descended deeper into the asylum's bowels, the air growing colder and more oppressive with each step. As they reached the bottom of the stairwell, they found themselves in a dimly lit laboratory, the remnants of Blackwood's unethical experiments scattered throughout the room. Mia felt a shiver run down her spine as she surveyed the scene. This is where it all began. Where Blackwood's obsession consumed her and the patients she was supposed to help. Olivia moved to a large glass enclosure in the center of the room, her fingers tracing the cracks in the surface. This must have been where she conducted her final, twisted experiment, trapping the patient's consciousness even after their bodies had perished. Derek's camera whirred to life, capturing the eerie details of the laboratory. Then this is where we'll find her. The key to unraveling all of this. Mia nodded, steeling her resolve. Let's do this. For the patients, and for our own sanity. The explorers approached the glass enclosure, peering inside. At first, it appeared empty, but as their eyes adjusted to the dim light, a vague, shifting form began to take shape. Blackwood's consciousness, trapped and yet ever present, pulsed with a malevolent energy. Welcome, my dear explorers. Blackwood's voice echoed, seemingly coming from all directions at once. I've been expecting you. Mia stepped forward, her gaze unwavering. It ends here, Blackwood. Your experiments, your twisted legacy, it all ends today. Blackwood's laughter sent chills down their spines. You foolish children. You think you can defeat me? I am the very fabric of this asylum. Its history, its tragedies, they are a part of me. And now, they shall be a part of you. The glass enclosure shattered, and Blackwood's consciousness surged forward, enveloping the explorers in a swirling vortex of energy. Mia, Derek, and Olivia fought to maintain their grip on reality, their senses assaulted by the asylum's unyielding influence. Mia's mind raced, desperately searching for a way to turn the tide. Blackwood, your obsession with curing insanity led to this twisted nightmare. But true sanity lies in accepting the fragility of the mind, not trying to control it. Blackwood's form wavered, her grip on the explorers faltering. No, you don't understand. I was so close to perfecting my methods. The patients would have been saved, if only you hadn't interfered. Olivia stepped forward, her eyes burning with determination. The patients were never meant to be saved, Blackwood. They were human beings, with lives and stories of their own. Your experiments robbed them of their humanity. Derek's camera captured the confrontation, his gaze unwavering. And now, it's time for your legacy to end. For the patients, and for us. The three explorers joined together, their combined will and psychological understanding overwhelming Blackwood's desperate grasp. The asylum's walls trembled, the very foundation shaking as Blackwood's consciousness unraveled. With a final, agonizing scream, Blackwood's essence dissipated, the asylum's dark energy dissipating along with it. The explorers found themselves standing in the laboratory, the oppressive atmosphere lifting as if a great weight had been lifted. Mia exhaled deeply, her nerves still raw from the ordeal. It's over. We did it. Olivia embraced Mia, tears of relief in her eyes. Yes, we did. We faced the asylum's darkness and won. Derek lowered his camera, his expression somber. But at what cost? We may have escaped with our lives, but I don't think we'll ever be the same. Mia nodded, her gaze turning towards the exit. No, we won't. The asylum has left its mark on us, just as it did on the patients all those years ago. But we're alive, and we have the power to ensure Blackwood's legacy never haunts another soul. The trio made their way out of the asylum, their steps heavy but resolute. As they emerged into the daylight, they paused, taking in the fresh air and the weight of their accomplishment. Olivia looked back at the towering asylum, now devoid of its sinister energy. It's over. But I can't help but wonder, what other secrets still lie buried within those walls? Mia placed a hand on Olivia's shoulder, her expression solemn. Some secrets are best left undisturbed. For now, we need to focus on healing and rebuilding our lives. The asylum's influence may always linger, but we're the ones who get to decide how it shapes us from here on out. Derek nodded, his eyes reflecting a newfound determination. Then that's what we'll do. We may be scarred, but we're alive. And that's what matters most. The three explorers turned away from the asylum, their footsteps leading them back towards the world beyond. Ravenhurst Asylum's dark history had been laid bare, but its true legacy would be the resilience and hard-won wisdom of those who had faced its horrors and emerged, forever changed but unbroken. Thank you for joining us on this chilling journey. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to subscribe to our channel, hit the like button, push the bell icon for notifications, and share this video with your friends. Until next time, stay curious and stay safe.